Hello everybody, it's me Roscoe and welcome to the latest Kings of Anglia live video. And I'm joined by Alex Jones as we discuss another sad departure. Another one of the back-to-back promotion heroes has left Portman Road, and it is the Welshman Nathan Broadhead, who has signed for Wrexham for a club record fee for the Red Dragons. We're going to get right into it. We're going to discuss his key moments in the town shirt, the deal as a whole, and what's next really for Ipswich Town. AJ, my friend, this has been rumbling on, I think, since we're actually in Austria, wasn't it? Where it sort of like first broke that there was a potential interest from Wrexham, and it's now signed, sealed, and delivered. He's now a Wrexham player.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Sorry we're a bit late. In terms of how this kind of turned into, well, the word is a saga, isn't it? And we've spoken about that word a lot. How it turned into that, I think the first I heard of it was quite early on, when we were out in Austria. I remember walking down the street with you, and I'd had a suggestion, well, a fairly strong indication that there was interest from Wrexham, and it went from there. Was reported maybe a week and a half or so after that they were pushing to sign him, and then we reported that there was a deal that had been agreed. That was the night of the Colchester Charlton game, the Tuesday night, and we reported that there was a deal in place, which was $7.5 million, and that Broadhead was set to go. But Ipswich didn't sign that one off because there just weren't really the options in the final third to let him go at that point. And then, in fairness to him, there are many things that he could have done. He could have tried to really force the move to get away and go back to Wrexham, a club where he started his career. He didn't do that. He ended up playing the final pre-season game out in Auxerre, and also played off the bench in the Championship opener against Birmingham. So real credit to him for doing that. But it was clear, and Kieran McKenna made it clear, that the opportunity was there, and it was an opportunity that Nathan Broadhead wanted to explore. So with Chuba Akpom through the door, another attacker seemingly lined up, and probably a few more to come, I think that this was now the time to let Nathan Broadhead, who's been such a key servant, key player, a big part of this group, get what he wants. And that would be a move back to North Wales for him, back to the family roots. And yeah, I think that all in all, when you look at it, it probably will have to be the right move for all parties. That's the feeling that I have.
Definitely, my friend. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining us so far. Get involved in the comments down below. Share your thoughts on this move, and share your memories of Nathan Broadhead as well, because we're going to bring that up later. We're going to discuss different memories, different moments for Nathan Broadhead. But AJ, it's a pretty good deal though, because he's got a year left on his contract, and the initial fee is £7.5 million. But then obviously there's 2.5 million add-ons. So yeah, £10 million, which is not bad going for a player that's got 1 year left on his contract at Ipswich Town.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it was first reported what the fee was, given his contract situation, I thought that was quite high. I think that Wrexham almost come into the league with a bit of a Wrexham tax. Maybe Birmingham have that as well, where clubs know they've got money to spend because they've got big money, rich owners. So there's that side of it as well. Get the deal agreed. They thrashed that one out quite quickly, I think, on the Tuesday night around the Colchester Charlton game, as I mentioned. But with that reluctancy to let him go, given the lack of options, I think it's been quite clear that Wrexham have since kind of come back to the table. I've seen it suggested that they've upped the money a little bit more, whether that's more in add-ons or what, but now revealing that it's closer to the 10 million mark when you add everything in, all things considered. If it reaches those numbers, I'm not sure how realistic the add-ons are. I'm not sure if it's the kind that will be achieved in a year or whether they're much longer-term ones. He signed a 4-year deal at Wrexham after all. Regardless, I think it's a really good fee. And there's different factors into it. Of course, it's the contract, but it's also the fact that there's a lot of competition in his part of the pitch. And I know that there is a real belief that actually maybe he is the best player on the left. But when you've got to compete with £15 million Jack Clark, who, has struggled, but is also a top championship player from Sunderland, and they'll hope to get him back to that level. Jaden Philogene, similar position, cost around 20 million. And then Sammy Smodix, who can also play as a left winger in this system as well. With all of those things then added in, contract and all, I think this made sense. And it's also what Broadhead wanted. And given what he's delivered to this football club, being such an instrumental part in back-to-back promotions, I think that the club did the right thing by allowing him to have what he wants as well.
Definitely, my friend. And as Paul Clark just put here, good outcome for both player and club. And Broadhead's still young. He's still 27, even though he's feel like he's been part of the furniture at Ipswich Town for a while, because he obviously initially signed for the club back in January 2023 for 1.5 million in League One, which was a big sort of fee. And also that was a time where Town were spending a little bit of money trying to get out of League One, obviously signing from Everton. And then he was, as I mentioned at the start, he was a key part of the side who won back-to-back promotions, AJ. Obviously, you weren't here for the League One promotion campaign, but you were here for the Championship campaign. But he obviously become a fan favourite because of some of his performances, some of his goals. Do you want to discuss that now? Just your memories, your key ones that stand out for you?
Yeah, I think that the first thing to say about Nathan Broadhead as a player, especially from, well, the Championship where I mostly saw him, is he was so often kind of the difference maker. In these kind of tight games, he would be the one that would have a little drink in space, a little moment of magic to create something. When you look at the goals that he's scored, one that comes back to me is Bristol City. That was a grim game. It was just us two that did that game, wasn't it? Stu was off. We went over there, and it was not a nice game. Town were a bit rusty. They'd had an extended international break, and they didn't look great. They looked a little bit wobbly in that one, and I thought Bristol City looked good. But you need those players with a bit of class, and that's what Nathan Broadhead had, and that was the difference on the day. If you say the most memorable Broadhead goal for me, I know it was a disappointing afternoon all in all, but the Norwich game, because there was so much tension around that derby, and it was such a nice finish, wasn't it? And it just felt like the relief of when he scored that. Roof lifted off. That was a really good one. Others that come to mind, he had goals in the win against Blackburn, the 4-3, of course, opening day, goes back to his former club, Sunderland, and gets a goal and assist up at the Stadium of Light as well. And that was kind of I can do this at Championship level. I can be a top player. Had that run of games where he scored against West Brom, Millwall and Swansea, back-to-back 3 goals, one in each of those, kind of across, I think that was February time, roughly. He was the difference maker so often at Championship level. And these are different times now, but it's nice to kind of look back on that group and him being such a pivotal part of it with what he was able to bring on the pitch.
Definitely, my friend. I've got a few stand-up moments as well. I'm going to go to League One briefly. He scored a brace against Port Vale, which you may think Port Vale, Ross, but he scored. He obviously equalised in that game, so he went 1-0 down. And then he scored an ice-cool penalty from the spot in the 84th minute to get a win, which was, I just remember that. He was just ice-cool and just finished, slotted home and celebrated right near the North Stand as well, which is great. Free kick against Sheffield Wednesday as well in League One. That was a just beautiful free kick. His dink against Swansea. Nice little dink there. He actually scored against Cardiff, as you mentioned. He scored against 2 of the Welsh clubs. And then the Southampton equaliser as well in that, obviously, that crazy game. And we've got a few great moments in the chat. And there's one that I want to bring up quickly. And it was, yes, Ashley, who I bumped into you in France. Barnsley away stands out for me when no one knew it was in. Yes, it was very true. Because obviously that was the goal that sort of kick-started that game. Obviously, that was the day where we knew we were getting promoted back to the Championship. And luckily, I was that end of the pitch. But obviously, the Town fans were at the other end. And no one really knew it was in. But I sort of knew it was in because I was right next to it. And there was a lot, we just knew it was going to be a good night in store. And obviously, George Hurst made it 2-0. And it was a great night as a whole. But so many different moments. Let's bring up some more. Mario Torrico. Are you related to Torrico? Mauricio Torrico, or you just got the same name? Sheffield Wednesday.
You pronounced it right, though. That's good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can. That sort of name. Sheffield Wednesday free kick, Port Vale penalty, long ball to Burns against Derby, long range shot. Yes, I remember that actually. Very good indeed.
I think it's quite interesting. There's a lot of League One here and it's kind of natural, isn't it? Because that's where you think about him playing regularly, and also it's a lot more happy memories. I just want to throw a couple more into the mix because he deserves credit for them. I know it was a horrible campaign last year, but the 2 he scored were 2 really good goals. great memories of him, that trip to Bournemouth on I think it was a Tuesday, Wednesday night, something like that. And he sent Dean Howshan absolutely flying for a hot dog. And that's just the one that's been mentioned, the one there just before his move to Real Madrid for a good 50 million odd. That was such a good goal. And that will be one that definitely sticks in my memory. And of course, then on final day, and that will be another one that can be forgotten because of the game and the fact that Town lost it. It was a disappointing performance, but it was just, again, what we'd actually seen from him in League One and in the Championship. It was him having a moment of quality to be the difference. It was such a nice kind of step inside, and then the finish, so good. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of him in the Premier League, I think, and there are different factors for that, of course, but I really would have liked to have seen him start another, even 10, 15 games would have been really good to have seen more of Nathan Broadhead at the top flight.
Yeah, obviously last year, Kieran McKenna went and signed, Jack Clark, Jaden Philogene, and loads of other attackers, and it was I felt sorry for Nathan Broadhead in a way. I felt like he was just sort of left behind from it all, but it's an interesting one. Gavin, evening, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let us know your thoughts, share your memories of Nathan Broadhead. But AJ, as we sort of talk about a departure, it's always now what's next in terms of Kieran McKenna's team, because that's another player leaving. Obviously, we've got the Amari Hutchinson saga. There's players linked. Where we go from now, and some people will probably say we need now backup. As Dylan said earlier in the chat, as soon as there's someone lined up to come in to replace him, then Paul Clark, when next priority is to get Hutchinson saga done and dusted, because we do want that. But yeah, that's now sad to see Nathan Broadhead go, but now it's like, okay, what's next for Ipswich Town?
Yeah, I don't think that a natural replacement for Nathan Broadhead is needed. I would imagine that Jaden Philogene is going to be back fairly soon. I would hope it's not been played up as a major injury. Then having Jack Clark and Sammy Smodix as the options on the left, I think is absolutely fine. You could always put other players out of position if you really needed to, but God forbid all three of those are out at the same time. Definitely the next step is sorting the Amari Hutchinson saga, isn't it? That's the big one. And that will then free up quite a lot of space to move other bits around. And if Amari Hutchinson goes, absolutely they need somebody to come in and be able to add to that kind of forward area. For me, it has to be someone that's going to be playing on the right more than anything. But if you can have it's an ideal situation, isn't it? If you can have an Amari Hutchinson style player, someone that can play on the right, but also on the left, can also play through the middle if needed. Depth is such a big thing. A 25-man squad is not big. And you don't actually realise that until you start jotting down the names and putting them all into formation. Think you're only 3 injuries away from a really sticky spot. So definitely the Amari Hutchinson situation and Kieran McKenna's comments, I think, have indicated now that we're at a point that has to be sorted, because there's going to be a disconnect between him and possibly the club. I don't know, and definitely the fan base, and it is going to be best for all parties that he moves on. That's the number one priority for me. Then using that money, because Town will have probably just shy of 40 million all in all in the bank from those ones, using some of that to go and bring in some real quality to add behind the striker. Obviously, they're working to sign another striker who might be a little bit versatile, who can help. And then it might just be filling some other gaps. Do they need another midfielder to cover Matasiwa? 100%. Do they need a left back? Possibly. Things like that.
Yeah, but calm down, ladies and gentlemen. Don't panic. I know there's a little bit of worry there, especially after the Bromley defeat. But, I'm sure everything's going okay. But, transfers is a funny business, definitely nowadays. Cole here just doing, I assume it means Philogene injury isn't as bad either, or maybe back sooner. AJ, we'll see Kieran McKenna's press conference tomorrow, so that's potentially a question for him. It didn't look great in all there. And yeah, you just never know. These days, with our medical team, sometimes out of nowhere, they come back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I want to be patient with anyone, especially given the fact that he did his MCL at the back end of last season at Chelsea. So he had that, recovered quite well, was featuring in pre-season, looked quite good. Was it the Aberdeen? I wasn't at Aberdeen, but was that the one where he stood? There was one game that I wasn't at that I heard he was really impressive. So I'd like to see him kick on, and he's had some bright moments in pre-season. Hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later. I'm sure the club don't want to rush him back, but I don't think it's going to be weeks or months. I'd say hopefully before the end of the transfer window, we'll be seeing him back. Who knows? Hopefully Kieran McKenna can deliver us some positive news tomorrow and he'll be back in the squad for Southampton, something like that.
Yeah, hopefully. And watch the space, ladies and gentlemen. Still got, how many days have we got left? What's it, 1st of
Too
September?
many.
Yeah, still a little while to go. And we'll see if these deals can get done. Big here, we need a centre back, left back, and 2 centre mids. I think that's right. So if this Spanish striker does sign, then is that sorted in terms of striker or attacking player? But maybe if Amari Hutchinson go, we may need another attacking player.
Yeah, I would say not a centre back for me. I think we're well stocked at centre back. That'd be all right. Left back, definitely a fair point to make, and I think that it's obviously going to depend on Connor Townsend, but it's not going to be, the best part of 9 months, is it? So it's going to be most of the season. Are you okay going along knowing that you can have Jacob Reeves covering maybe Cam Humphreys? That's going to be a question for Kieran McKenna, and I know it was one in the press conference before Birmingham, and he said it's something we'll have to look at as to whether we want to recruit 2 centre mids. I think maybe 1 as things stand, given that Cam Humphreys and Jack Taylor there kind of on the left side of things as the more attacking driven midfielders. Needs to be more deep lying cover for Azor Matasi, where that for me is really important. Get that one done quickly.
Definitely, my friend. We're going to wrap this up very shortly, but I just want to quickly do this. It's actually a good little talking point. Obviously, this is more about Nathan Broadhead's departure, but obviously, Amari Hutchinson's the big talking point, and we're just going to finish this here with Ashley. The Amari situation has divided the fan base. How do you think Town fans will react if Amari stays and starts again? Which is very interesting, because you never know if Town are not going to budge on a fee, and Premier League clubs don't want to do it. He could potentially stay, and then I can't see him just be sent to the under-21s. He already want to be playing.
Yeah, I can't see that. I also, to be perfectly honest, I'm sat here right now, I can't see him staying at Ipswich either. But let's go with it. If he does, I think it would be a frosty reception to start off with. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But if he was to stay and then he started performing and scoring goals, then the dynamic shifts. And if he was to stay, I think we'd need to hear from him quite soon. Hopefully we would get the opportunity to talk to him and see where his mind has been at and what kind of the thought process has been, and maybe a peek behind the curtain in terms of some of those discussions. But I can't see it personally. I think that the best case for everyone is going to be moving him on. And the last thing that you want as well is that if he stays, you're then dragging that uncertainty through till January, and having a big sale in January is never ideal. For me, it would be good to get him out. If they can take somewhere between 35 and 40 million. I've seen a suggestion there from Carl Doak Fellows. Doak's ambitious for me, but someone like a Tom Fellows, someone that we know has got real quality in this division, would be good to have as a replacement.
Definitely. And that sort of segue on to Nathan Broadhead, because I'm sure he'll get a good reception in November when Wrexham come to town. Hopefully he doesn't score an important goal for them. Hopefully we win 3-1. He gets a consolation. But yeah, I'm sure he'll get a good reception. And fine note on Nathan Broadhead as he ends his Town career.
Yeah. I'm sure he will get a good reception when he's back, and it'll be good to see him as well. Kind of become the real main man. He will be the star of this Wrexham team, won't he? And I'm sure, especially when Town go up to the racecourse in February, that you will see him hopefully being adored by a very passionate fan base up there, and a team that I was maybe a bit down on at the start, but I think they could go and have a really good season if they get things right. And they're showing the ambition as well. This is a really ambitious move for Wrexham, and a really good move for Nathan, who, as I said, he's given so much to Ipswich in terms of getting this club up twice. And he deserves to be able to have a nice move to like this, going back to where he's from. I know his family, it means a lot to them as well. Sad, but also weirdly happy in a bizarre way.
Yeah, very much so. But 23 goals in 84 games for Nathan Broadhead. And of course, he became a Welsh senior international for playing for Ipswich Town. Of course, scored in his debut a late goal against Croatia. But all the best to Nathan Broadhead, and now it's all looking ahead to Ipswich Town now, and hopefully some more signings through the door, ladies and gentlemen. Do not panic. Obviously, we're back at Portman Road this Sunday. Southampton come to town. Are they going to be more late drama? We shall wait and see. There's Kieran McKenna's press conference tomorrow, so check out all the great coverage that AJ and Stu will be doing, a live blog and all that sort of stuff. And then obviously a lot of pre-match build-up for the Southampton game, so stay tuned, and we'll see you at Portman Road. I'm going to end this stream now. I always forget where to press the button, but thanks for watching, everybody, and see you next time. Bye for now.